The chamber of eternal voices stretched so far that Ambassador Marcus Webb could barely see the walls. 15 kilometers of crystalline surfaces pulsed with light, carrying the translated thoughts of 7,000 different species. Marcus stood alone at the center of it all. A single human figure beneath. Massive galleries where aliens of every imaginable shape watched him with countless eyes. He would not let them see his fear. Counselor. Thrain spoke from the high seat, her voice booming across the chamber. She had 3 heads, all speaking the same words at once. Her skin rippled with angry red colors. The Valtorian was furious, and she wanted everyone to know it. The species called humans stands accused of breaking our laws. You built weapons without permission. You created colonies on worlds we told you to avoid. You ignored every treaty we set before you. Marcus listened as his earpiece translated the angry voices from the galleries above. Thousands of aliens murmured their disgust. Some called for punishment. Others wanted Earth's technology taken away. The Kavath Dominion representative demanded immediate action. How does Earth answer these charges? Thrain demanded. Marcus touched his wrist device. A hologram appeared above him, showing Earth rotating slowly in space. Blue and beautiful and fragile. Around it, 12 golden points of light appeared. The 12 human colonies. We did everything you said, Marcus replied calmly. We broke treaties we never signed. We built weapons in our own star system. We settled on worlds you called forbiddance. And we did this because humanity wants to survive. The chamber exploded with noise. Thousands of angry voices merged into one furious roar. The clicking sounds of the Morthic swarm became words through his earpiece. How dare they? The gas creatures called. Valerians pulsed with electromagnetic rage. Thrain turned to the other leaders on the high seat. Prelate Vaughn nodded slowly. Hierarch Dulan, whose species had ruled their part of space for 18,000 years, simply watched with eyes like frozen stars. We have been patient with your kind, Thrain said. When you stole jump drive technology from a Lithian station, we forgave you. When you spread across 6 star systems in 20 years, we only gave warnings. But this is too much. Marcus had known this moment would come. 12 years ago, humanity discovered they were not alone in the universe. They learned the galaxy was already divided up, already controlled by laws written before humans even existed. The Galactic Council had ruled for 700 years, and they expected every young species to obey. The Council has reached a verdict, Thrain announced. Economic isolation. All human trade stops immediately. All human ships beyond your home system will be seized. And we will deactivate your jump drives remotely. Humanity will stay in the Sol system until you learn to cooperate. The words hit like physical blows. Economic isolation meant Earth's 12 colonies would be cut off. 3 million human souls on distant worlds would be stranded. The trade that fed 9 billion people on Earth would stop. The medicine Earth bought from other species would disappear. Marcus kept his face perfectly calm. You will accept these terms, Thrain continued, or we will declare humanity a rogue species. The enforcement fleet will handle rogue species. In the galleries, Marcus saw the enforcement commander lean forward. The huge Dravic warrior commanded 5,000 warships. Ships that could burn entire planets. Marcus looked up at the 7,000 species watching him. Most had been council members for centuries, some for thousands of years. They had seen young species rise and fall. They had watched worlds burn. They knew how this always ended. The primitive species bowed their heads. They always did. Ambassador Webb, Thrain said. Does Earth accept the Council's judgment? Marcus turned off his hologram. Earth and its colonies disappeared. No, he said quietly. The silence was complete. What did you say? Thrain's voice carried shock. Earth does not accept your judgment, Marcus said louder. We reject your authority. We reject your laws. We reject your threats. Starting right now, humanity is leaving the Council. The chamber went insane. Threats poured out in 100 different languages. Thrain's 3 heads all screamed for order. Marcus tapped his earpiece. All human personnel, begin protocol exodus. We are leaving. Across the massive space station, in 40 different offices and chambers, every human diplomat stood up at the same moment. They closed their cases, shut down their computers, and walked toward the exits. The Morthic ambassador tried to block a door. Patricia Okonkwo, a human trade negotiator, simply stared at him. "Move," she said. Something in her voice made the insect-like alien step aside. Back in the main chamber, Marcus walked toward the exit. The galleries were screaming. Commander Dravik shouted about arresting him. Thrain demanded he return. Marcus kept walking. "If you leave this chamber," Thrain roared, "you declare war on the entire Galactic Council." Marcus stopped. He turned around, and for the first time he smiled. "No, Counselor. We declare independence. What you do next is your choice." He walked through the massive doors. They closed behind him with a sound like thunder. Inside the chamber, 7,000 species stared at the empty spot where Marcus had stood. Hierarch Dulan, who had been silent through everything, finally spoke. His voice was soft, but everyone heard it. "You just made a terrible mistake, Thrain." "What mistake?" Thrain snapped. "They are primitives. We will crush them in a week." Dulan's frozen eyes looked at the sealed doors. "You should have asked why they were not afraid." The words hung in the air. Across the station, human ships were already departing. Every human was leaving Council space, and not one of them looked back. In the hours that followed, the Council waited for desperate messages from Earth. They expected humans to beg for another chance. They expected fear and surrender. What they got was silence, and in that silence something changed. The Council had ruled the galaxy for 7 centuries based on one simple truth. When they said no, species obeyed. For the first time in 700 years. Someone had said no back, and the Council had no idea what to do about it. 20-3 hours after the humans walked out, Counselor Thrain stood in the Strategic Command Center watching holographic displays. The room buzzed with activity. Analysts from 50 different species studied data. Military advisors whispered to each other in worried tones. "Give me a report," Thrain ordered. Senior Analyst Krell stepped forward. The methodical Tavarine had mapped galactic politics for 3,000 years. His species understood patterns better than most. "All human diplomatic stations are empty," Krell reported. "Every human ship has left Council space. They took every ambassador, every trade representative, every single person. A complete withdrawal." "Good," Thrain said. "They are running scared." "Perhaps," Krell said carefully. "But the way they left is unusual." The display changed to show New Havana, one of 12 human colonies. Ships were arriving there, not leaving. Huge cargo vessels, construction ships, military frigates. They are making the colony stronger? Thrain's middle head tilted in confusion. "All 12 colonies show the same activity," Krell continued. "More ships arriving. More defenses being built. Long-range scans detect massive energy sources. They are building something big on each world." Prelate Vaughn joined them. His ancient species had watched 2 entire galactic civilizations rise and fall. "I told you we should have been careful. The humans studied us for 12 years. We thought they were learning how to fit in." "And?" Thrain demanded. "What if they were learning our weaknesses instead?" Thrain's skin flushed with irritation. "They control 1 star system with stolen technology. The Council represents 9,000 star systems and 700 years of power. What weakness could they possibly find?" Vaughn pointed at the display. "The weakness of assuming they need us." Before Thrain could answer, alarms screamed across the command center. The display showed the Lithian home system. The Lithians created jump drive technology. They built control codes into every drive they made. Analyst Krell's voice shook. "Counselor, the Lithians are reporting catastrophic failure." "Explain." "They tried to remotely shut down all human jump drives as ordered. The control codes did not work. And then something worse happened." The display showed data from Lithian space. 23 Lithian ships had tried to blockade the Sol system. All 23 suffered complete jump drive failures. Their crews were stranded in deep space calling for rescue. How is this possible? Thrain demanded. The control codes are absolute. They are built into the quantum structure of every drive. A voice spoke from the shadows. Unless someone rebuilt the quantum structure. Hierarch Dulan stepped into the light. His ancient face showed no emotion. The Lithians gave humans their old drive technology 12 years ago. A generous gift to help a primitive species. Did no one ask what humans did with that technology in the years since? Krell pulled up new data. Our intelligence shows Earth created something called the Prometheus Research Initiative 7 years ago. They recruited the best human scientists and engineers. The facility is on Earth's moon, heavily shielded. We could not scan inside. And we thought they were just trying to understand our technology, Vaughn said Q. Ootly, they were not understanding it, Dulan said. They were improving it. Every human ship now has jump drives that ignore Lithian control codes. More than that, they actively destroy those codes on contact. Like a virus. The implications settled over everyone like a heavy weight. The Council's power relied on technological control. The Lithians could shut down any ship anywhere. Or they used to. This is temporary, Thrain insisted. The enforcement fleet will handle this. The enforcement fleet is reporting problems, Krell interrupted. 6 hours ago, Commander Dravik sent 20 ships to Sol System. They dropped out of jump space at the edge, as planned. But when they tried to go deeper into the system, they encountered something unexpected. The display showed a map of the Sol System. The asteroid belt glowed with thousands of energy signatures. What are we looking at? Thrain asked. We do not know, Krell admitted. The signatures do not match anything in our databases. When the enforcement ships investigated, they received a warning. Play it, Thrain ordered. A human voice filled the command center, male, calm, completely unafraid. Attention Enforcement Battle Group 17. You are entering sovereign human territory. Turn back now. This is your only warning. Admiral James Cato, an intelligence officer reported. Commander of Earth's home fleet. He was a merchant captain before first contact. No real military experience by our standards. What did Dravik do? Thrain asked. He ordered his ships forward. The humans sent a second message. Just 2 words. We warned you. The tactical display showed what happened next. 20 enforcement ships crossed an invisible line, and the asteroid belt came alive. Thousands of the energy signatures moved. They were not asteroids. They were weapons platforms. Each one released electromagnetic pulses at specific frequencies. The Dravik shields, designed exactly to their species specifications and listed in Council databases, collapsed instantly. The platforms did not fire again. They did not need to. Dravik retreated, Krell said. No shots fired. No one died. But his ships were helpless for 47 minutes while their systems rebooted. The humans could have destroyed every single ship, but they did not, Vaughn observed. No, Krell agreed. They let them run away. Thrain stared at the display. At Sol System covered with defenses nobody knew existed. At the 12 human colonies getting stronger every hour. At the reports of Lithian control codes failing everywhere. How long? She asked quietly. How long have they been preparing for this? Dulan's laugh was bitter. Since the day we made first contact? Since the day we told them our laws? Since the day we showed them a galaxy already divided and told them their place in it? 12 years, Vaughn said. 12 years of smiling and asking questions and following just enough rules to seem cooperative. While they rebuilt every system we gave them, while they prepared for the day we pushed too hard. An aide rushed into the command center. Counselors! Transmission from Earth, not from their diplomats. From their prime minister. Earth's leader, the intelligence officer supplied. Rebecca Torres, former professor of military history. Show us, Thrain ordered. The holographic display cleared. A woman appeared. Dark hair going gray. Sharp eyes. a face that had seen hard times and survived. Behind her, through large windows, Earth turned in space. "Counselors," Rebecca Torres said, "I will be brief. Humanity formally withdraws from the Galactic Council and all treaties. We claim full sovereignty over Sol System and our 12 colonies. We will defend this sovereignty against any interference." "You cannot just," Thrain began. "We can and we have," Torres interrupted. "I am not negotiating. I am informing you. Humanity has no desire for war. We simply wish to be left alone. The Council will never accept. What the Council accepts does not matter," Torres said flatly. "Leave us alone, and we will leave you alone. Try to enforce your laws on us, and you will learn exactly what we discovered in 12 years of study." The transmission ended. The command center was silent. Finally, Commander Dravok's hologram appeared. The huge Dravik warrior looked shaken. "Counselors, we need to talk about Sol System's defenses. Our scans suggest the humans have technology that should not be possible for their development level. Their weapons use principles our scientists call purely theoretical. The energy readings from their colonies suggest power generation that rivals our largest installations." "How?" Thrain whispered. Dulane answered. "Because we were arrogant. We gave them our old technology and called it advanced. We let them access Council databases to educate them. We showed them our weapons, our ships, our defenses, all while assuming they were too primitive to really understand. They understood perfectly," Vaughn added. "And they saw all our weaknesses, all our limitations, all our assumptions." Thrain's 3 heads turned toward the display showing Earth. "What do we do?" No one had an answer. In the silence, one thought rippled through the command center. Humanity had been preparing for war from the day they met the Council, and the Council never noticed until it was too late, 6 weeks after humanity walked away. The Galactic Council started to crack, the chamber of eternal voices filled with panic. Counselor Thrain watched from the high seat as thousands of species argued and shouted. The calm order of 700 years was crumbling. Architect Ven of the Lithian Collective stood at the speaker platform. His crystalline body flared with anger. 317 ships have suffered drive failures in the past month, Ven reported. All after encountering human ships or passing through human space. The quantum corruption spreads like a disease. We have lost control of jump drive technology in 17 sectors. "The Lithians are our greatest technological power," a delegate from the Brecken world shouted. "If they cannot fix this, we are trying." Ven's body blazed with light. But the humans did not just modify their drives. They weaponized the modification. Every human ship broadcasts a signal that rewrites quantum codes nearby, like infecting our technology with a virus we cannot cure. Prelate Vaughn stood. "What about the economic impact?" The Council's Minister of Commerce, a Teverine named Sula, projected numbers into the air. Trade routes disrupted, cargo delayed, entire sectors running out of resources. Humanity controlled 8% of Council trade before the withdrawal, Sula reported. That does not sound like much, but they were middle connections in hundreds of trade relationships. The Kavath relied on human ships to transport dangerous materials their own vessels could not safely carry. The Valerians used human atmospheric processors on 17 terraforming projects. And Earth was the largest buyer of Castorian medical technology. "Find new arrangements," Thrain said. "We are trying," Sula replied. But humans were uniquely positioned. They breathe oxygen like 40% of Council species, but their biology is tough enough to survive in environments that would kill Castorians. They can work with lithium technology and Dravik military systems equally well. They are not the best at anything, but they are adequate at everything. Then replace adequate with excellent, Thrain insisted. That will take decades, Sula said quietly. The infrastructure does not exist. Meanwhile, we are seeing real suffering. The Morthak Hive worlds face food shortages because human cargo ships transported 60% of their grain. The Valerians suspended 2 terraforming projects affecting millions of colonists. And Earth has stopped exporting medical isotopes, Sula paused. 3 council species depend on those isotopes for critical treatments. We estimate 40,000 deaths in the next year if we do not find alternatives. The chamber exploded. Accusations flew. The Castorian delegates screamed about mass murder. The Morthak representative demanded immediate military action. Hierarch Dulan, ancient and tired, simply watched. Commander Dravok's hologram appeared. Counselors, I have new intelligence. Our scouts mapped the human defensive perimeter. Over 15,000 autonomous weapons platforms in Sol System alone. Each colony is similarly defended. Then commit the full enforcement fleet, the Kaveth military advisor urged. 5,000 ships. Overwhelming force. Against an enemy that can disable our jump drives? Dravok's laugh was harsh. We would be slaughtered. Even if we won, the cost would be catastrophic. We would lose half the fleet. Maybe more. Then what do you suggest? Thrain demanded. I suggest we ask ourselves why the humans have not attacked us. The chamber fell silent. Think about it, Dravok continued. They have technology that cripples our ships. They have had 6 weeks to use it offensively. But they have not. Every incident has been defensive. They meant what they said. They want to be left alone. They are killing 40,000 people by withholding medicine. The Castorian delegate shrieked. Earth sent 3 separate offers to sell medical isotopes at normal market prices, Sula said quietly. We refused. We demanded they provide them as tribute for breaking council law. The silence was damning. Von stood again. Let me understand. We demanded humanity obey laws they never agreed to. When they refused, we tried to cripple their civilization. They defended themselves successfully without killing. Gee, anyone, and now we are angry because they will not give us resources we need? They are primitives. Someone shouted. Primitives who outmaneuvered us at every turn, Dulan said. Primitives who spent 12 years preparing while we assumed they were grateful for our attention. Primitives who saw our civilization and found it lacking. Thrain turned to him. What are you suggesting? I am suggesting we consider an uncomfortable truth. Humanity left because we failed them. We offered them a place in a galaxy already divided, where they would be forever subordinate to older species. Where their colonies would be limited, their technology restricted, their development controlled. We offered them slow decline in exchange for security. We offered them peace, Thrain countered. You offered them a cage, Dulan said. And you are shocked they broke out. Another alarm. The display changed, showing new data from deep space stations. Analyst Krell stood, voice shaking. Counselors, we detect unusual energy signatures from all 12 human colonies. Massive power draws. They are building something. The display showed each colony world ringed with structures that blazed in the scans. Huge geometric frameworks extending into orbit, drawing power from fusion reactors and the stars themselves. What are they? Thrain asked. We do not know, Krell admitted. The energy profile suggests some kind of gate or portal technology, but using principles we do not recognize. If our models are correct, each structure could open stable wormholes across thousands of light years. Instant travel, Von breathed. Bypassing jump drives entirely. No more reliance on Lethean technology, Dulan added. No more control points. Humanity could expand wherever they choose, trade with whoever they want, completely independent of council infrastructure. Thrain stared at the display. At human colonies building a future the council could not touch. At Earth glowing in the darkness, unreachable now. How long until these gates work? She asked. Unknown, Krell said. Months, perhaps. A year at most. A delegate from the outer sectors stood. Then we have a year to break them. Before they grow too powerful. Before they spread their technology to other restricted species. Before they show every oppressed species in the galaxy that the Council can be defied. Voices filled the chamber. Some urged war. Others counseled negotiation. Many simply expressed fear. Thrain called for order. We vote military action against human territories. All in favor. Thousands of appendages rose. 4,000 species voted yes. Opposed? Fewer rose, but significant. 3,000 species. The chamber had never been so divided. The motion passes, Thrain announced. We authorize the enforcement fleet to... A transmission cut through the chamber, unauthorized, the holographic display filled with a human, woman in military uniform. Dark skin, gray hair, hard eyes. I am Admiral Cato of the Earth Defense Force, she announced. I am told the Council is voting on attacking humanity. I am here to save you from a terrible mistake. This chamber is closed, Thrain began. I do not care, Cato interrupted. You need to hear this. We know you are planning an attack. We monitored your fleet movements. We tracked your military buildups. And I am telling you, do not do this. You dare threaten us? Someone shouted. I am not threatening. I am warning. Cato's expression softened slightly. Counselors, we do not want war. We never did. We just want to live free. But if you force this, you will lose. Not because we are stronger, but because you cannot afford the cost. Empty words, Thrain said. Then let me be specific. Cato pulled up data. You are preparing 3,000 ships to attack Sol System. You expect 60% losses, which you consider acceptable. You are wrong. We mapped every ship in that fleet. We know their shield frequencies, weapon specifications, communication protocols, all from public council databases you let us access. If you attack, we will destroy 90% of your fleet, without losing a single human life. Impossible, Dravik growled. You said that about our defenses too, Cato replied. After we destroy your fleet, the galaxy watches the mighty council suffer its first major military defeat in 700 years. Every restricted species, every unhappy world, every faction that hates your laws sees that the council can be beaten. How long before your empire breaks apart? The chamber was silent. We are offering peace, Cato continued. Real peace. We stay in our space. You stay in yours. We trade freely with anyone who wants to trade with us. We do not interfere with you. You do not interfere with us. Simple. And if we refuse? Thrain asked. Cato's expression hardened. Then we remind the galaxy why humanity survived on a death world. Why we climbed to the top of Earth's food chain. Why we built civilization from nothing. We are not the strongest species. We are not the smartest. But we are the most stubborn. And we never, ever surrender. The transmission ended. Hierarch Doolan spoke. We have a choice. We can try to crush humanity and risk everything we built. Or we can accept that the galaxy changed. That a new power emerged. That our age of absolute control is ending. You counsel surrender? Thrain demanded. I counsel wisdom, Doolan replied. Something we should have practiced 12 years ago. The vote was called again. This time the margin was much, much closer. The council did not attack. But it did not agree to peace either. Instead, it did what massive organizations do when faced with impossible questions. It formed committees, ordered studies, and debated endlessly while the galaxy burned, 4 months after humanity walked away. The consequences spread everywhere. Counselor Thrain stood in her private chambers, watching data streams from across council space. Her 3 heads tracked different crises, all bleeding into one disaster. Report, she ordered. Her aide, a nervous Tavarine named Misk, projected the latest information. The Outer Rim territories are in chaos. 17 restricted species have asked for the same independence humanity claimed. 4 were denied. 3 of those armed their vessels and declared sovereignty anyway. And our response? The enforcement fleet is spread too thin. Commander Dravik has 300 ships dealing with the Talvek. Rebellion in Sector 9. Another 500 are blockading the remnant worlds after they stopped paying taxes. We do not have resources to suppress all the uprisings at once. Thrain's skin flushed dark purple. This is humanity's fault. They showed the galaxy the council could be defied. Yes, Misk agreed quietly. And now everyone wants what the humans have. A chime announced a visitor. Prelate Vaughn entered without waiting. The custodian looked grim. "We need to talk," Vaughn said. "Privately." Thrain dismissed Misk. When they were alone, Vaughn activated a privacy field that would defeat any surveillance. "What is it?" Thrain asked. "I have been talking with other High Council members, quietly." Vaughn settled into a chair. "There is growing belief that we made a catastrophic error, not just with humanity, with the entire structure of Council governance. Do not tell me you support the humans now." "I support reality," Vaughn said sharply. "The Council was built on a simple idea. Older species know better, younger species must obey. For 700 years that worked. But it only worked because no young species ever grew powerful enough to challenge it. Humanity is not powerful enough. Humanity is powerful enough to defend themselves," Vaughn interrupted. "That is all that matters. And in defending themselves, they exposed the fundamental weakness of our entire system. It requires compliance. The moment someone says no and has strength to enforce it, everything unravels." Thrain moved to her window, looking at the station where the Council met. Thousands of species held together by treaties, traditions, and the threat of overwhelming force. Except the force was not so overwhelming anymore. "What do you suggest?" she asked. "We open negotiations with Earth," Vaughn said. "Not from strength. We do not have that anymore. From pragmatism. We offer them observer status instead of membership. We acknowledge their sovereignty. We establish trade agreements that benefit both sides. The Council will never agree." The Council is fracturing," Vaughn said bluntly. "I ran the projections. If we do not change, we will lose a third of our members within 5 years. The empire you are trying to preserve will collapse anyway." Before Thrain could respond, her emergency communicator activated. Hierarch Doolin's ancient face appeared. "Turn on the Galactic news feed," Doolin said. Immediately, Thrain activated the display. Breaking news from dozens of sources, all reporting the same thing. Earth announces OpenALLIN. See, the image showed Rebecca Torres, Earth's Prime Minister, at a podium. Behind her stood representatives from 6 other species, all former Council members who had been denied the freedoms humanity claimed. "Today," Torres announced, "humanity is proud to announce the formation of the Free Worlds Coalition. This is an alliance of sovereign species committed to mutual defense, free trade, and self-determination. Membership is open to any species that values independence." The camera showed the other representatives. The Talvek, whose rebellion Dravik was fighting, the Yevran, a restricted species the Council had kept technologically limited for 300 years, the Orothi, whose homeworld the Council had designated a nature preserve, forbidding industry, and others. Species Thrain had never heard of, from the galactic fringe where Council authority was always weak. "The Coalition makes one promise," Torres continued. "We will defend each other against external threats. Any attack on a Coalition member is an attack on all. And we have the technology to make that promise real." The display showed footage of Earth's orbital gates, now working. Shimmering portals in space, each large enough for massive ships. Through them, vessels moved. Human ships carrying weapons and supplies to Coalition worlds. "These gates," Torres explained, "allow instant travel between Coalition territories. We can reinforce any member world within hours. We can trade without relying on anyone's infrastructure. We are, as of today, fully independent of the Galactic Council." The broadcast ended with a simple message. "Join us. REN. He stared at the blank screen. "This is a declaration of war." "No," Dolan's voice said. "It is a declaration of irrelevance. They are not fighting the Council. They are replacing it." Misk rushed back in, privacy field forgotten. "Counselor, we are receiving thousands of requests from restricted species asking about Coalition membership. And 3 Council members announced they are leaving to join the Coalition. The Vestry Collective, the Nomadic Fleets, and the Outer Moons Federation. They cannot just leave," Thrain said. "Humanity did," Vaughn pointed out. "Over the next 6 hours, things got worse." 12 more species announced their intention to leave the Council. The enforcement fleet reported mass desertions. Ships whose crews included coalition species refused orders. Trading houses across the galaxy began shifting operations. Moving toward coalition space where regulations were lighter, the Council convened an emergency session. The Chamber of Eternal Voices, once filled with 7,000 species, now had visible gaps. Empty seats where delegations had walked out. Thrain called the chamber to order, but the responses were muted. Fear had replaced confidence. Commander Dravik appeared via hologram. The Dravik warrior looked exhausted. "Counselors, I must report complete failure." The Talvek rebellion succeeded. My fleet was prepared to engage when coalition gates opened in their system. 30 human warships emerged, along with vessels from 4 other coalition species. We were outnumbered and outmaneuvered. I ordered retreat. You retreated? Someone shouted. The enforcement fleet never retreats. The enforcement fleet never faced an enemy with instant reinforcement, Dravik shot back. The coalition can concentrate overwhelming force anywhere in the galaxy within hours. Our fleet assumes days or weeks of travel time. We are obsolete. Architect Ven stood? It is worse. We analyzed the coalition gate technology. It uses principles the Council deemed theoretically possible but impractical. The humans made it practical and cheap. Coalition species are building their own gates using specifications humanity shared freely. Freely? Thrain's 3 heads turned. They are giving this technology away? Yes, Ven said. To anyone who joins the coalition. Every new member increases the network's value. Every gate makes the coalition stronger while making Council infrastructure less relevant. Hierarch Dulan climbed to the speaker platform with difficulty. His ancient body showed every one of his 3 centuries. Counselors, Dulan said softly, but the chamber fell silent. I am the oldest being here. I have served the Council for 170 years. I remember when we were a force for peace, bringing war-torn sectors together. But somewhere we became what we once fought. An empire that demanded obedience and crushed dissent. Hierarch, this is not the time, Thrain began. This is exactly the time, Dulan interrupted. We are watching our empire die. Not from military defeat, from irrelevance. The humans offered us a choice. Adapt or be replaced. We chose neither. We chose denial. And now we are being replaced whether we like it or not. So what would you have us do? Thrain demanded. Surrender? I would have us negotiate, Dulan said. Not as masters to subjects, but as equals to equals. Humanity and the Coalition do not want to destroy the Council. They want us to leave them alone. That is all they ever wanted. A delegate from the core world stood. If we negotiate as equals, we admit weakness. Every restricted species will demand the same. Yes, Dulan agreed. And perhaps that is what they deserve. The chamber erupted. Centuries of assumptions colliding with reality. Species that had ruled for millennia suddenly facing genuine competition. Thrain watched it all. And in that moment, she understood what Dulan had known. The Council as they knew it was already dead. The only question was whether they would adapt or be swept away. The vote, when it came, was razor-thin. Negotiations with the Coalition would begin, but Thrain knew it was too late. They were negotiating from weakness now, and in her chambers that night, watching Earth shine, Thrain finally asked the question she should have asked 12 years ago, what if the humans were right? The negotiations happened on neutral ground. A space station at the boundary between Council and Coalition space, built cooperatively over 3 months. The symbolism was clear. 2 powers meeting as equals for the first time. Ambassador Marcus Webb returned to the negotiating table. He had lost weight since his dramatic walkout, and gray now streaked his temples. Across from him sat Counselor Thrain, Prelate Vaughn, and Hierarch Dulan. Thank you for coming, Thrain said stiffly. Marcus nodded. We are here because we want peace. We always wanted peace. Just not our peace, Vaughn observed. No, Marcus agreed. Not subordination disguised as cooperation. Not restrictions disguised as guidance. You asked us to be grateful for a cage. We said no, Dolan spoke, his ancient voice carrying weight. We were arrogant. We assumed that because we were old, we were wise. That because we had power, we deserved it. We were wrong. The words hung in the air. A confession from the Council's eldest statesman, Marcus pulled up a holographic display. The Coalition now includes 47 species. 23 left the Council to join us. 24 are former restricted species you tried to keep limited. All of them want what we have, self-determination. You are tearing the Council apart, Thrain said, though without her previous anger. The Council is tearing itself apart, Marcus corrected. We just offer an alternative to a species tired of being told their place. If the Council treated its members fairly, they would not be leaving. Vaughn leaned forward. What do you want, Ambassador Webb, truly? Marcus considered the question. We want to exist without permission. We want to trade freely. We want to grow, explore, and develop without artificial limits. We want our children to inherit a galaxy of possibilities, not predetermined roles based on when their species develop spaceflight. And the Council? Thrain asked. Do you want it destroyed? No, Marcus said firmly. We understand the Council serves a purpose. You maintain stability in core sectors. You preserve knowledge. You provide a place for species to resolve disputes peacefully. Those are valuable things. Then what? Thrain's three heads tilted. We want you to evolve, Marcus said. Stop being an empire. Start being what you claim to be. A cooperative alliance. Make membership voluntary, not forced. Let species choose their own paths. Earn loyalty instead of demanding it. Doolin's laugh was soft, almost sad. You make it sound simple. It is not simple, Marcus agreed. But it is necessary. The galaxy changed. Faster communication, better technology, species like humanity who will not accept subordination. The old model does not work anymore. Adapt or die. Over 4 weeks, they hammered out an agreement. The Concordat of Free Species. The terms were revolutionary. The Council would transition from a governing body to a cooperative alliance. Membership would be voluntary. Restricted species would have their limitations lifted over 10 years. Trade would be open to all. The enforcement fleet would become a peacekeeping force. Deployable only with member agreement. In exchange, the Coalition would establish formal relations with the Council, share selected technologies, and commit to mutual defense against external threats. Pirates, slavers, the occasional expansionist empire from beyond known space. It was not perfect. Hardliners on both sides hated it. Some Council species refused to sign, breaking away to form their own conservative group that lasted 18 months, before economic pressures forced them to accept the new reality. Some Coalition members wanted harsher terms, wanting to punish the Council for centuries of restrictions, but most recognized it for what it was. A chance to build something better. The signing ceremony happened on Earth. In the rebuilt United Nations building in New York, representatives from 300 species gathered. The largest diplomatic assembly in galactic history. Thrain signed for the Council, her three heads steady despite everything she was surrendering. Rebecca Torres signed for the Coalition, her face showing the weight she carried. And then something unexpected happened. Hierarch Doolan approached the podium. The ancient being moved slowly, clearly in pain, but waved off help. I have an announcement, Doolan said. Effective immediately, I am resigning from the Galactic Council High Seat. I am 307 years old. I have served for more than half my life, and I have watched us make every mistake an empire can make. Silence filled the hall. But I have also watched something miraculous, Doolan continued. I watched enemies become partners. I watched impossible barriers break down. I watched the galaxy take its first steps toward genuineness. Operation instead of imposed order. He turned toward Torres and Marcus. Humanity did this. Not through military might, though you have that now. Not through economic power, though you are achieving that too. You did it by refusing to accept the galaxy as it was and insisting we could all do better. Doolin's frozen eyes swept the assembly. My species has a saying. The young inherit not because they are better, but because they are brave enough to try new paths. Humanity tried a new path, and the galaxy is better for it. He bowed, a gesture his species reserved for equals, and left the podium to standing. Ovation from half the room and stunned silence from the other half. The years that followed transformed everything. Coalition gates spread across the galaxy, bringing distant regions into contact. Former restricted species bloomed with innovation. The Council, forced to compete for membership, became leaner, more responsive, actually serving member needs instead of dictating terms. There were setbacks. The Dravic supremacy refused all changes, breaking away to form their own empire. It collapsed within 3 years when their client species left for better opportunities. The Lithian collective struggled to adapt to a galaxy where their technological monopoly ended, leading to economic problems that took a decade to fix. But the new galaxy also brought wonders. Joint scientific projects between species that never cooperated before, cultural exchanges that enriched everyone, and exploration. With gate technology making the galaxy smaller, species pushed into unknown regions together, discovering new worlds, new mysteries, new possibilities, and humanity did what humans do best. They adapted, innovated, and thrived. The 12 colonies became 50, then 200. Human scientists worked alongside alien colleagues, solving problems neither could manage alone. Human artists, philosophers, dreamers engaged with galactic culture and changed it. Even as it changed them, Marcus Webb, now elderly, sat in a garden on Earth, watching children play. Human children alongside Tavarine younglings, Castorian nestlings, even a few Lithian sparklings. Growing up in a galaxy where species cooperated as equals, where no one was told their ceiling based on when their civilization developed, Rebecca Torres joined him, her hair now fully white. She had retired from politics years ago. Was it worth it? She asked quietly. All the risk, all the conflict? Marcus watched a human girl and a Tevarin child building something together. Yes, he said simply. Because they will never know what it is like to be told they are not good enough because of when they were born. They will never be restricted, limited, or told their potential is dangerous. The Council would have kept us safe, Torres observed. Safe, Marcus agreed. And small. And dependent. And forever grateful for scraps from our elders' table. He turned to her. We gambled that we could be something more. That humanity deserved a chance to grow without limits. That the galaxy could be better, and we won, Torres said. We won the freedom to try, Marcus corrected. What we do with it is the real test. Across the galaxy in the rebuilt Chamber of Eternal Voices, now truly a chamber of cooperation rather than decree, Prelate Vaughn stood before the assembly. The room was different now. Fewer seats, but each occupied by a species that chose to be there. The Council survived, Vaughn announced. Not as an empire, but as something better. A true alliance of willing partners. We owe our survival to an unlikely source. A species we dismissed as primitive, who taught us that wisdom does not require age, and that power without consent is tyranny. He raised a ceremonial cup, a human tradition the Council adopted. To humanity, who walked away when we pushed too hard and in doing so saved us from ourselves. The assembly rose, cups raised. To humanity, who changed everything simply by refusing to accept the galaxy as it was, and in the darkness between stars, through the shimmering gates humanity built, ships traveled freely. Council vessels and coalition ships passing each other with friendly greetings instead of suspicion. Species mixing, trading, learning from each other, building a new galaxy. Together, the humans had walked away silently when the Council made its fatal mistake. And in that silence and that dignified refusal to be controlled, they had done something remarkable. They had shown the entire galaxy what freedom looked like, and the galaxy chose to follow. Retriclod can make mistakes. Please double-check responses.